Friends, as you probably have already guessed, I'm not from your generation. I'm a baby boomer, so I was born between 1946 and 1964, 78 million of us. And to that point in time, we were the largest generation in the history of our country. And everyone was talking about us. And then you came along. An even larger generation, some 80 million strong. And you really were the generation of promise. You're called millennials because you started to come of age in the new millennium. And we coddled you. We raised you to be the best and the brightest because all of our hopes and dreams were pinned on you. As boomers, we grew up with this idealism that we could change the world, and it never really happened. And then you came along. And we began to see how smart you are and how driven you are, and we began to believe that if we poured ourselves fully into you, that you would carry out all the dreams and hopes that we had for making this world a better place. But unfortunately, we haven't always done the best of jobs. We probably in many ways over-coddled you, we've over-protected you, we did overschedule you. And so a number of you now as adults and raising your own kids, you're trying to figure out, how do I slow life down for my kids? Because we were so overscheduled. But what it did for you is it shaped you into a dynamic generation. And you have so much now to teach us as older folks. We grew up in a world, I grew up in a world where we started out with a black and white TV and 3 channels. Now you have iPads, you have iPhones, and all of this stuff is just natural for you. You're hyper-connected to everything. And you can teach us a little bit about how to navigate a world of hyper-connectivity and yet follow Jesus and bring balance to the world. I think we can offer you some things on that. How to stay human, for example, in a world that's all electronic. But we can also learn some things from you. The other thing that I think you bring to the table is you have this big open view of life. You're the first generation to see an African-American president in the United States of America. A mixed race president, to say it in a better way. And that's one of the great gifts that you bring to our generation. Our generation fought for civil rights. You're living it. You're showing us how to put it into action. And I have learned a great deal from you about how to think differently and how to think lovingly about the people around me who maybe are different than I am, maybe even hold different views than I do. Doesn't mean that I have to compromise what I believe, but it does mean I need to be sensitive to what other people believe and ask the question, how would Jesus treat that person and accept that person and grace that person? So I've learned a lot from you. I'm the father of 2 millennials, and those 2 millennials now have given birth to the next generation. And that's going to be your great privilege, to start raising the next generation, which we haven't even defined yet. And that's where I think the church can come in. There are a lot of things that us older people have learned over the years. Our generational experiences may be different, but we've learned a lot of things. And I think we can help you. From our mistakes and from our successes, we can teach you some things about marriage. We can teach you some things about raising kids. And we have this life experience now that has maybe made us a bit more calm as you go through those turbulent years of trying to get your career going and get your family going. And one of the things that we want to do as a church together is provide the tools that you need to be households of faith, where you as husbands and wives can talk together about what it means to follow Jesus, where you can learn how to pray for and bless your children and raise them to be followers of Jesus. Where if you're single, you can learn how to connect with your friends and use these great gifts of technology to talk about faith together. That's where the church can partner with you, and that's where we can use your partnership, because together, as we build households of faith and a church of faith, then we follow Jesus on that reckless adventure of bringing grace to the world. And one of the things that we share in common, and the reason why we get along, is because we both have this worldview. We want to change the world. And we believe that God can use us to change the world. So I want to encourage you to step into faith in your households, to step into faith here at Grace, to partner with the silent generation who would probably be your grandparents and great-grandparents, to partner with us boomers, to partner with the Gen X generation, and of course, your generation and the generation to come. And as we bring all of these generations together and learn to worship together and learn to grow in faith together and learn to serve together, we're going to build a church that really lives up to its name, a community of grace.